Man, welcome back to the Fake Stuff podcast brought to you by the crew. We are back at it again. This is really our second episode as the Fake Stuff podcast. But as always, thanks for joining us. Catch us up on YouTube. We're doing our thing. YouTube. Check me out on Twitter at CrewMattHam. Craftman in the building. What's going on, Craftman?
Man, I'm doing absolutely wonderful. You know why? Because I'm the champ of the majestic, wonderful league of Doo-Doo Dynasty. I just wanted to take a little bit of time since I haven't really been a sore winner this year. I've kind of just let it pass. But this is the time to be a sore winner. And I just want to say, I want to acknowledge myself for assembling one of the best teams that Dynasty has ever seen. I mean, I brought this wonderful crown to crown myself tonight. The winner.
I ain't gonna lie,
doesn't fit over my headphones, but I just wanted to
pull out some fire ass crown. This man brought out the Burger King.
Hey, that's the number one crown that you could possibly get. The trophy, I would have brought it out here, but it's in my child's room and he's sleeping. So I will definitely break that out tomorrow and show him first so he understands how great his father is at kicking ass at fantasy football. So I just want to thank myself, number one, thank myself. And then I want to thank all my dumbass league mates for letting me assemble the team that I was able to create to whoop all y'all's asses, especially Dunk there at the end, whining about whatever, this and that. I wish he was here so that he could see the majestic crown that was placed on top of my head as the winner of Doo-Doo Dynasty.
Yeah, I'm with you. I thought when you was about to pick something up, I thought he was about to literally pick up the trophy because I know JD down there in that area. But you're right, man. Dunk, he'll be on the podcast, and we'll get Dunk on here. I figured Dunk probably didn't want to hop on with me. Been pissing him off a little bit lately. But shout out to Dunk.
Because if I would have won, y'all would have been getting a video. Y'all have been getting videos.
Yeah.
Like, they won. I've been sending a video. It would have been like the league talking about, I just want to wish you all a heartfelt suck it.
This is just a start, man. This is just a start. I'm going to be a sore winner. I've decided that.
Right. See, Swizzy, he is in the building, and he was in the championships in my home. Basically, Chris is on a run in 2 leagues, being in championships. You got to give Chris credit. He didn't win the championship this year, but still doing his thing out there. And I also want to shout out to our homie, Zamil Galani. Who knows if he'll even listen to this, but maybe one of the homies will relay this to him. I got a trophy back here. You can't see it because it's blurry. But my trophy's back here, and his days are counted. Living in the Hammond household because that motherfucker's gone. About to head to Zamil out there.
I don't even want to hear Zamil's name. That motherfucker's like Dinkelberg to me right now. Fucking Dinkelberg. Had me a fucking trophy again, dude. I should have won. I mean, this dude kicked my ass, man. Like it was
Dinkelberg.
This man had fucking T. Higgins. Then he had Trey McBride. Then fucking Jonathan Taylor went off again, and I'm just over here. I got James Conner getting pulled out of the game in the first fucking quarter. And then Chuba Hubbard all of a sudden's on IR. All of a sudden, Olamide Zaccheaus is the number one fucking target on the Washington Commanders, and Terry McClaurin just doesn't exist. Jalen Hurts is out here getting a concussion. Like
he cost me 2 championships, Jalen Hurts.
Sense, man. So, like, Crab's being a sore winner. I'm a sore fucking loser. I didn't get a chance to sit there and bitch. I've been sick. I ain't even gonna lie. I barely even watched the games on the day of the championship. Listen to this shit. The day that I lost, not only was it the championship, I was sick as fuck, but it was my birthday while I'm just getting my ass kicked, man. Turning 31, just getting my ass handed to me. And I just kept checking the score, and I'm just like, well, fuck. Like, this is fucking stupid. Yeah, I'm a sore loser. Fuck you, Zamil, but congratulations.
I know Chris, because Chris really wasn't even responding to the text messages and stuff like that. So I was like, man, this motherfucker Chris is sick and does not give a fuck that he's losing right now. I know he doesn't care because I've been sick before, and then I'm just like, I don't even care if my lineup is set. I'm just like, fuck that shit. Y'all do whatever y'all want to do. You know what I'm saying? I felt like Chris was in that zone because we wasn't even hearing from him for like 3 or 4 days.
Well, I'll tell y'all like I told everybody else, told the crew, I got my little $100 for coming in second. I spent it on medication and weed, man. The medical and the medicinal. That's what it got used on, fellas. That's exactly what it got used on. So.
Hey, man, y'all want to hear some good irony? Is that when I went to Green Bay to watch him play, I bought me a Jaden Reed jersey while I was there. And I felt like after that last week in Dynasty, my other Dynasty League, I wanted to take that jersey outside, throw it in a fire pit, and burn that son of a bitch until there was nothing left. I've started Jaden Reed over Jordan Addison and lost by 1 point in my other league because of that little son of a bitch. So thank you, Jaden Reed. Thank you for taking my $150 at the Green Bay store and screwing me in my fantasy championship. I appreciate you.
Hey, also going on out there, I got a homie I work with. He plays fantasy on ESPN. I told him he got to fix that. You got to fix that. But they're still in championships, Kraft, man. They're doing 2-week playoffs and stuff like that. There's folks out there still sweating it out. So I was just telling them, I was like, the week 18, got to be done with that shit. But yeah, so people still sweating it out. Good luck. I hope y'all get your wins. Heck, I hope you can fill out a lineup.
Do the 2 weeks no more, man. Like you get to this week and you talking about like Saquon been carrying you all year. Well, now we sitting. I can't go another week. Like these people are. You get to the point where playoff teams are going to be sitting players. How the hell? And then people are going. But look, here's the comeback that people are going to have. Well, you should have the depth. Yada yada. Well, if I'm in the championship, Saquon Barkley's ass better be in the fucking lineup. You know, like he better be in the lineup. Like I'm not going out here to start fucking. I mean, another player that be playing right now. Like it's not. Like, yeah, it's good to have depth, but come on, man. It's the fantasy championship. We want the best players playing to give you the best chance to win.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a pretty low IQ individual. I'm not very smart myself. But the folks playing in Week 18, they on a whole nother level of stupid. Like, what are y'all doing out here playing in Week 18? Ain't nobody playing their players. Like, find y'all's commissioner and do him like I did my Jaden Reed jersey. Throw him out in the fire.
Hey, what you call it? Some folks are even talking about we should be moving playoffs to championship to week 16. I've even been hearing some chatter like that. I mean, especially when you see like what the Chiefs are doing. Ain't none of them motherfuckers about to play. So I hope you ain't got Xavier Worthy or Mahomes or something like that because it's over with.
Might be better off if you ain't got them guys anyway.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I don't know. Xavier Worthy was doing his thing, but Patty Mahomes, I mean, sure. Fuck him. But, hey, this episode, I know we've been rambling because championships have been crowned, but best picks, worst picks of 2024. Me and Kraft and Swizzy, we pretty much going to go through this ADP because I know Kraft, man, he said he wants to call out the frauds. So we're going to let him call out the frauds. And we'll just maybe talk about a little bit of next year, but I'll just start it off right here, just from the top. Because we're basically going to talk about some picks that really hurt you or they helped you. I just wanted at first just to start it off. That tier 1, it was pretty consensus. CMC, Tyreek Hill, CeeDee Lamb. That was your tier 1 right there. And that was a bad tier 1. I know CD, it was okay. Like when you got to the playoffs, he was still the wide receiver 3. Even though he's playing with Cooper Rush, upside was a little cap. But as far as like Tyreek, CMC, all those shenanigans with CMC, just imagine spending the 101 or the 102 on CMC. You're done from the jump. It's over with. But that tier 1, really disappointed this year. What do you say, Crab Man?
Oh, it was atrocious. I mean, Tyreek for sure. I mean, McCaffrey, but his was injury related and it stung week 1 when he got rolled out, and then it just accumulated from there. But the Tyreek situation, getting drafted as a wide receiver 1 or the number 2, and he finished as a wide receiver 20 on the season. He was a wide receiver 30 in points per game. And he was just he was just bad. And he was bad with Tua. He was bad with Tyler Huntley. He was bad with Tua. He was bad with all the quarterbacks. And I don't really understand how it went from so good the season before to so bad this year, because Tua really only missed like 4 or 5 games. And what do y'all think is going to happen next year with Tyreek? Is it going to be like this year, or are you still going to be drafting him pretty high because he screwed a lot of folks?
I mean, I'm just wondering where they're even going to go. Like, if you think about it logically, if you're being objective, because I'm going to say some things about Waddle here later too, but if you're being objective, even though you was hurt by Waddle and Tyreek, they're really buy lows when it comes to dynasty. And when it comes to redraft, their prices are going to be low. I mean, where's Tyreek Hill going next year? I mean, he's going behind 4, 5, 6 receivers, you know what I'm saying? Or at least a few. So I think it'll be better next year is what I'm saying. It was all fucked up. I don't really like Mike McDaniel or whatever his name is. I don't really think he's all that of a coach, but I do think he's a good offensive coach. And I think maybe they'll turn it around to the whole shebang.
Did they just get figured out, though? Like, did his offense just get figured out? Because, like, it was completely different. Like, they went from – I think Chris said this on a previous episode. They went from, like, not using the tight end at all to the tight end as their featured weapon on offense with Jonnu this year. Is it because Jonnu's a great player? I mean, he might be all right, or is it just that was what they had to do because their offense was figured out and they just could dump it down to Jonnu for 6-7 yard gains over and over again?
I think it could stem a little bit from, Jonnu was a decent player. Like, I mean, there's only so much in the NFL that you can design. The players still got to make stuff happen. But Tua looked very inaccurate this year. I saw some Jameis Winston in Tua with some of them interceptions that he was throwing, just letting it fly. And I mean, I don't know, but like you say, Tyreek Hill, he got to come down. I know we're pulling up with our average Joe's draft right here. I think he's gonna drop way down from what I'm looking at right here. Like, but there ain't no telling. There ain't no telling. Tyreek Hill, he's still Tyreek Hill.
I mean, if you think about it, Jamar, Amon-Ra, JJ, all going ahead of him. CD going ahead of him. Brian Thomas going ahead of him. I mean, who else? Garrett Wilson or Tyreek? Drake London or Tyreek next season?
I mean, I don't think he's down there with Drake London. With what Chris said about Tua, made me think of something of just what if Mike McDaniel just wanted to protect him, get the ball out of his hands, and that's one of the reasons that Tyreek didn't do what he's supposed to do, and he wasn't getting hit on them deeper routes because Tua wanted to get the ball out of his hands quick. So he probably, Jonnu was like the safety blanket for him, where he didn't want to take any hits, didn't want to risk holding on to the ball too long. So, he wasn't letting plays develop fully. Taking the deep shots.
Like that was like a lot of the manufactured looks for Tyreek that they normally do in the short yardage, like that was going to Jonnu.
Yeah,
I ain't never seen Miami throw 3 or 4 tight end screens in a game in years. I ain't never seen that. Like, never seen them do that. And if you would normally be doing that for Tyreek Hill, right? Like,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. If they're getting the ball out quick, if Mike McDaniels is this OC that's supposed to be knowing what he's doing, why don't you get the ball out quick to these guys who are super fucking fast, like Tyreek Hill and Jaylen Waddle, even Etienne? Like, why are we just giving it to the tight end?
He did do it to Etienne. Like, Etienne and Jonnu were the main guys. But ever since Jaylen Waddle's first year, when he was like the target hog, when Tyreek wasn't there, he hasn't been used like that anyway. So I can understand why he took the big dip this year, because his ADOT's usually really high. But like you said, I don't understand why they didn't try to get Tyreek the ball in space. He said his wrist was hurt from the cops arresting his ass or whatever that lingered all year. I mean, I ain't gonna get into that.
Listen, man, crap, man. As a man that's been in handcuffs, that thing ain't hurting throughout the whole year. I'm just being real. That's crap. That's crazy. But go ahead, crap, man. Give me another bad pick, man.
Man, another bad pick was Breece Hall. that was our dynasty RB1, and there's no way we can put him up there this year. I mean, the Jets offense was just atrocious. They didn't dump the ball down to him a million times like they did last year with Zach Wilson. And speaking of Zach Wilson, somebody might need to give him a chance because the Jets offense, he might have been better than Rodgers was this year, but Breece went at the 106 as the RB2, and he finished as the RB18. He didn't help nobody. He didn't help you in the championship. He didn't help you in the playoffs. Like, I traded mid-season. I traded Kareem Hunt and Chase Brown for Breece Hall, and that was one of the bigger mistakes that I made on the season because he was just never right. So do y'all think it's like a talent thing? You think it's going to be like this with the Jets? Like, how far down are you going to be on Breece?
Man, when it comes to running backs, I ain't going to be that far down as far as redraft. But you're right. We had him as dynasty running back 1. That's done with. We can't justify that no more. I think the offense, Aaron Rodgers, I'm just going to be real with the Jets. It looks like Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams. I don't know if the Jets really even care about winning games. I'm just being real. I just think
selfish.
Rodgers, they just out there just slinging the rock. That's why Garrett Wilson ain't happy and all that stuff. Listen, Breece Hall's good. He's got talent. I'm sitting here looking at his game log. He definitely had some good games. But the offense was all wonky. He was a little banged up in the back half. So I'm not going to really kill Breece Hall. I would definitely have him on my team next year in redraft. I would buy low if I can in Dynasty. Because you saw how bad the offense was with Zach Wilson. And the dude did go off. I don't know what the Jets are about to do with Aaron Rodgers and all that. I don't know if they're coming back and running the back or not. But I would feel better with Breece Hall. I would feel better with Breece Hall if Aaron Rodgers and them were gone. So that's how I see that situation.
Yeah, like same thing with Garrett Wilson. Like you said, like he pretty much said that he's not coming back if Aaron Rodgers is back. So we'll see what the Jets do, man. Like they can keep screwing up and following Aaron Rodgers, whichever way he wants to go, and just totally mess up their whole organization more than it's already jacked up. So, I mean, we'll see what happens to the Jets next year. But we got to talk about we talk about Garrett Wilson a lot on the pod. This is the first time we brought up Breece. But, I mean, there's a pattern there. It all comes back to just Rodgers wanting all his guys and the Jets being dumb for bringing them all in.
Right.
Jeudy's coming out of retirement. He'll be with the Jets next year.
I mean, you see Breece Hall's upside is running back 2, at least. So it's like I'm not going to just shove him aside and be like, nah, I ain't taking Breece Hall next year. Like, I definitely still want Breece Hall, but it's just got to be under some different circumstances. And as far as Dynasty goes, I mean, you might as well buy low if somebody's unhappy with him, if you can get him.
I mean, what's buy low, though? I mean, I don't know how far he would have dropped in the Dynasty rankings for somebody to be looking to get rid of him. If it was Dunk, he'd be trying to give you Bucky Irvin, because he thinks he's God.
Yeah, I've been getting the old Bucky Irvin for Jonathan Taylor trade. I'm not doing that.
He told me it'd have to be Gibbs. I just took your ass down through there in the championship. I ain't about to give you the player that did it.
Yeah. I do think Bucky Irvin's good, and I think he'll be way up there. Maybe we'll talk about him some. I think his stock and redraft, he'll be way up there, but trading for those guys, that's utterly absurd.
Yes.
But
I'd actually be a bit more worried about Breece, not just because of the Jets, but because of Braylon Allen. Braylon Allen, just seemed like, I don't know, the Jets have always just been when they run the ball, they run the ball. And Braylon Allen looks like, a running back. He's not one of your prototype running backs that they got everywhere nowadays. Like, it worked for Breece whenever Zach Wilson was there throwing the dump off. Aaron Rodgers said, I ain't throwing no fucking dump off. I ain't giving you no bullshit pity pat. Fuck your fantasy points, motherfucker. And then they're just giving it to fucking Braylon Allen and let him. I mean, he was probably getting 1 or 2 more yards than Breece was, but it was just a shit show.
Where did Braylon Allen go to college?
Wisconsin, right? Wisconsin.
Yeah, where did Aaron Rodgers play most of his career?
California. Oh, you talking about Green Bay?
Yeah. That man said, "This is my Wisconsin brother, and this is the guy I want in the game." Aaron Rodgers called the whole situation, man. I'm telling you. You don't even need that much in common, but Rodgers was like, "I'm doing everything." Well, I mean,
Rodgers, I like to eat cheese, like straight up. Like that makes me like your Wisconsin brother. So if you want to like reach out and like throw a motherfucker a few meal or something, like or send me some cheese, I'll take some cheese too. You know what I'm saying?
That man Chris said, "I like to eat cheese straight up." Hey, all right, what's the next bad pick? Because I'll just go ahead and say what is a bad pick, and this was obvious before I slam it back over to y'all. The next bad pick, which anybody and their mama who's ever played fantasy football for like 2 or 3 years, the next bad pick was Marvin Harrison. That motherfucker going in the back of the first, going at the beginning of the second, right here on half PPR ADP. He's 14. And I get it, dude. The situation was it was perfect crap, man. For anybody, this generational talent, he's coming in with Kyler, yada, yada this, yada, yada that. Man, I'm just going to say, if you fell for that, John, if you were listening to the Cruise Dynasty podcast, there's no way you would have taken Marvin Harrison that high. And I wish folks wasn't out there doing that shit unless you were in some kind of like keeper league or something like that. But Marvin Harrison, for a rookie, really did have a fine football season. You know what I'm saying? But for the first round,
not a generational talent rookie, but for a rookie, yes, he did.
Yes, for a rookie, he had a fine year. But for a first round pick, second round pick, get out of here with that nonsense. That was crazy.
Oh yeah, he I've heard a lot of bad things about Marvin Harrison, just like on the field where he was being lazy, coming back to the line, like he ain't got no dog in him, like stuff like this. I mean, I don't know about all that, but I mean, rookie receivers have really been coming in the league and just performing like nonstop lately. So everybody's just used to that. Like, I draft this guy at the 101 in my rookie draft. Like, he better come in and win me championships. He didn't win nobody jack shit. He lost you the fucking championship. Like, he was drafted as a wide receiver 9. Like you said, this is off of Fantasy Pros ADP. But wide receiver 9, finished as a wide receiver 32. He averaged less points per game than Jacoby Myers this season. So he didn't help anybody.
Nice.
Like, and you felt like you had to start him every week, which is the worst players to have on your team is the guys that you're like, I drafted him at this point, I got to play him. And that's the guys that's going to kill you every single year.
And I think that when you look around and then you see like these other rookies, like Brian Thomas Jr. and playing half the season with Mac Jones, and you seeing what he was doing this year, you're like, damn, Marv, if you're like this talent or whatever, like you didn't even – I know Marv had a couple good games. Let me pull up his game log right here. I know he had a couple good games. Like,
he had a couple.
He's got a 20-point game, 27. Yeah, he's got a couple good games. But you see them other rookie, Malik Neighbors, you see what he did with, Drew Lock for just a couple games and stuff like that. You're like, damn, we need some more out of Marv. So I could see why there would be some frustration with Marv. And I got one more thing. I know people on Twitter, and I know everybody, they want to blame Kyler. And I get it. Kyler wasn't all that great sometimes. He was bad at other times. And in real football, I've always said that. He would drive me crazy if he was my quarterback. But this motherfucker was supporting Trey McBride like a motherfucker. And that dude's getting 10, 12 targets a game. So I don't want to sit here and blame everything on Kyler when we got a tight end up here doing shit. That man Marv, he needs to go get it together. If he's really that guy, go put that work in.
I agree completely because they just weren't ever on the same page. Every time you seen him throw a ball to Marv, like none of the contested catches he came down with. He wasn't like George Pickens out there where if it's one-on-one coverage, you throw it up and he comes down with it. He never came down with the ball. They were looking over the wrong shoulder. Like everything was just off kilter just a little bit every single time. Like they got to get the timing down and maybe that talent will come out. But I mean, I'm not giving up on him yet, but I just think a lot of rookies outperformed him, and it opened my eyes to Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas, and all them guys, I don't think I'm going to sit here and say, oh, Marv should still be ranked ahead of them guys because he's a generational talent.
Yeah. You couldn't have said it any better, Crab Man. What's another bad pick?
I'll give Chris some credit on this one because I was high on him in the offseason. I had him in a couple leagues. He sat on my bench in doo-doo all year. But Donkey Kong Metcalf was really a disappointment. JSN had his breakout, and that's not the reason DK was bad. I don't understand why DK was so bad, but that was JSN breaking out just killed DK. And I watched a couple Seahawks games at the end of the year, and their whole entire offense ran through JSN. It wasn't a fluke with JSN. It was just they forgot about DK Metcalf being even on the team. So I don't know what to do with him in the future. Like it's a weird situation. He finished as wide receiver 32. He wasn't good. Got drafted wide receiver 18, so he let you down. And come next year, I think he probably should be drafted as a very back end wide receiver 2, high end wide receiver 3. I don't really see a whole lot of, coming back to like a back end wide receiver 1 for DK. So good job, Chris. Damn it.
Chris been on DK. I've really been step to step with Chris on DK until this year. For some reason, my dumb ass, I was like, I like DK's price and all that. Chris stayed on it, and Chris was 1,000% right. I'm looking at it right here, and this is half PPR. This man has one game over 20 points. He got injured, and he missed a couple games. They had the bye week, and it was done. This man has he's got one game of 10, one game of 13. Everything else is single digits, and you're right. And then we're giving Chris a lot of credit. We'll give the Craftman a little credit. JSN, best buy low in Dynasty. It's JSN. He's the man. He'll definitely be shooting it up. But, yeah, Chris, you were right. DK, ass. He ain't shit.
I just think that once they figured out that JSN's not like, oh, we're going to play him right here and this is the only spot. They done figured out you could put JSN anywhere on the line, and then they done figured out a cheat code with Njigba. They done figured out why this kid was as highly touted as he was, even though after his first season it didn't look like really good. Now they done figured out, well, hell, we've been just trying to run this kid on little go routes the whole time, and he ain't doing shit. Give him the targets. Let him get the targets.
Well, they kept throwing him screens the year before. Like, he was getting targeted behind the line of scrimmage like he's
You're right. I had
just
that
this crazy tackle breaker that's just gonna incredible with the ball in his hands, but that's really not what JSN's game is. Like, if you watch the Seahawks games, JSN was the one in motion like CeeDee Lamb is every game. But they're moving him all over the place. And, Geno, that was his safety blanket this year. So JSN just seemed like he was rock solid. And you throw him in your lineup. Like, once you made that switch, it was like, all right, JSN finishes wide receiver 8 this season.
It is like your prototype technician route running wide receiver. He goes out. He is a playmaker. Makes plays. He may not be breaking tackles and stuff like that, but he can carry your offense if you feed him the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as far as Dynasty goes with DK, can't really sell him. Can't really. Just got to hold. Am I right? Or would you sell him expecting it to get way worse, Kraft man?
No, I don't expect it to get worse. I think this is probably the lowest he's going to finish, like, in the next couple of years. I think it'll get a little bit better. I mean, they didn't hit no big plays. I don't know how many touchdowns he scored on the year, but DK's usually getting close to 10 touchdowns this season. But I don't know if he's I don't have his game log right ahead of me, but I don't remember him scoring a touchdown after like week 5.
I don't either. And he went on a tear for like 2 or 3 games where he was scoring them. And and then after that, it was just like, damn, they're not even throwing this. They're not even looking at DK, even when he came back.
Yeah. I mean, he just wasn't getting used in the red zone. He's a big target. And I mean, Geno didn't throw a whole lot of touchdowns, but I got it right here. He scored 1 touchdown after week 7. 1 touchdown.
So bad.
What's crazy is that DK is like your screen wide receiver because he's your track star. He's out, he's fat. He's your fast, real fucking fast, but he's massive. And you're not getting targeted in the red zone. You're not catching the ball in the backfield to make plays. So after he came back from that injury, it was just like, where were you even putting DK? I was seeing they were moving DK around like crazy. I was seeing DK line up in places like Tyler Lockett would line up, and Tyler Lockett's lining up, and Tyler Lockett's getting the read over DK Metcalf.
I mean,
it's crazy.
When they played the Packers, I remember watching that game, and we beat the crap out of them, but we doubled DK the whole game, and we just let JSN get his 6 or 7 yard gains over and over again. So I don't know if it was all DK or if defenses were just saying – I mean, defenses are doing that anyway where they're trying to eliminate the big play. Yep. So it might have just been like, hey, let's not let DK beat us over the top or take a slant to the house. Like, let's just let him dink and dunk down the field. And DK's not your dink and dunk type. He doesn't function very well in that type of offense.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's like you said, they wasn't hitting the big play. The big play really doesn't even fit Geno's game like that. You know what I'm saying? Like JSN and Geno, like if Geno's going to be sticking around for a little bit, it's going to be perfect for JSN the way I see it.
But they got to get DK more involved. Like their offense definitely took a hit when they decided not to feature him a little more.
Yeah.
Well, and Kenneth Walker being out all the time ain't no good either.
Yeah. What else you got for me, Crap Man?
Oh, well, one of the biggest busts, we talked about him a lot on the pod, but Travis Etienne was just an absolute travesty. Travesty Etienne. Came up with that right now. He's garbage.
I'm just writing down the timestamp. You're right. He was trash. I guess Crap's going to pass it over to the Clemson fans to let us go kill Travis Etienne. This is what I was going to say about Etienne. Real quick. I think Etienne maybe was a little banged up at time. Didn't he miss a couple games or something? But regardless, the whole time I've been talking about seeing Etienne in Jacksonville, even though he was with T-Law, they don't even use that motherfucker remotely, right? And I mean, it's just ridiculous at this point. I'm not going – obviously, Doug Peterson got to take the blame for it, but it's just like, man, come on, man. Y'all got this guy – this is the honest truth. We should be looking at Travis Etienne like we do Breece Hall and all those guys in Tier 1. He should be top of Tier 2.
Exactly. I tried to tell somebody this one time, and they looked at me like I was fucking crazy. They were looking at me like I was an idiot. I was like, bro, go watch the way that this kid played. He was that prototype type running back. He was the catch the ball in the backfield, do all of this, do all of that, and he could run it up the A-gap. Really, he could do all of that. But I mean, it fell apart. I don't know what's going on. Like I said, I think he was dealing with a little bit of injuries, but I ain't making excuses because whenever he was healthy and he was playing, the efficiency was atrocious. It was awful.
The offensive line didn't get fixed over the offseason.
That's true. That was another thing I was going to bring up. I mean, the offensive line was not addressed at all.
Which is literally what we was talking about in the offseason. We were talking about the Jacksonville doing this and that, but we said – I actually was specifically saying, unless I'm wrong, I was saying, have they done anything to do anything about that offensive line? I mean, they didn't do a damn thing about it as far as I could tell. Maybe bring some free agents or something. I do like that what they got with Brian Thomas Jr. and all that, but
that's a lone spot on the offense that you can be happy about this season. And maybe Tank Bigsby, if you have him, like he gave you a little hope that he might end up being a decent running back, but like to go with what y'all were saying a minute ago with Etienne, he should be used like Jahmyr Gibbs is being used in Detroit.
Yeah.
Even if he doesn't he shouldn't be an 80-70% snap guy running up the A-gap all the time. Like get this dude out in space, throw the ball to him, let him make people miss out in space, and still run him in between the tackles every now and again, but he just, ever since he's been there, even when he had his RB2 season in 2023, like he still wasn't used right. He just got a whole lot of opportunity. Yeah. And that was the only reason he was he was good.
So it comes down to redraft. I'm gonna be kind of if I'm even thinking about having a draft Etienne, I'm watching what the Jags are doing at this point.
Yeah.
Dynasty, though, I'll be honest with you. I'm not too worried about Etienne because I don't think Etienne is going to be a Jacksonville Jaguar for much longer.
He's a good buy low. Like he is a perfect buy low if you believe in the talent, which I think we all do think he's talented.
They paid Trevor, right? But they didn't pay Etienne yet. They can
5th-year option though.
They got his option, but you got one more year where you go. Somebody's going to take a shot on Travis Etienne.
I mean, can we all just agree that Doug Peterson, that motherfucker got lucky? Nick Foles went on some run that can't be duplicated, and that man Doug Peterson the championship. That's how I feel. I mean, I've never thought Doug Peterson, even after they were done winning that championship, and he was still with Philly. They were bad. They weren't even that good. They were terrible. I mean, and then now he comes to Jacksonville, and it's like, look at y'all's offense. Aren't you an offensive guy? Like, this shit is stale as could be. I mean, I don't know. You got T-Law, who's a generational talent. You know, you got Etienne, a first round. You got Brian Thomas Jr. over there, and this is what y'all are doing? I mean, come on, man. This shit is getting ridiculous. They need to just get rid of Doug, the whole thing, and bring somebody in who can just put together a creative offense, or at least put together an offense to just let Trevor Lawrence throw the ball 50 yards 30 times a game or something like that, if that's what y'all want to do.
I honestly think that the Jags bailed him out and made him look good one year whenever, because the Jags sucked all those years and got all those first-round picks. And, you know, they take Trevor Lawrence. They get Travis Etienne. They get Trayvon Walker and all these players. And then all of a sudden, the Jags make the playoffs. And then now it's like, y'all are right back the fuck out. Y'all ain't making shit now. Like, you ain't doing nothing.
But the defense is terrible too. So
the defense is still pretty bad. They've got some good. The only good thing that I like about their defense is the line up front. I mean, who is it? Eric Armstead? Is that who's on there, or
on the edge?
Another player, but they got some. I mean, it's all right at best. Like, it's not good.
Chris knows how to look at a bad team and come up with like some bright spots on them. Watching the Panthers all this time,
It's
just like, come on, man. Honestly, if I was listen,
we can talk about the Panthers' bright spots on defense.
Yeah, I know we can.
If you're a Jacksonville fan, I mean, I can't tell if you're happy or not because you've been asked your whole time, but I would be definitely frustrated with whatever they got going on down there. So. Fix it, Doug. It's time to fix it. But let's just move on. Let's roast on somebody else. We got any more bad picks, crap, man? You got tons of them. You know what? I got one. Fuck it. His name is motherfucking Jaylen Waddle. Because I remember I came in here. Man, this is no joke, crap, man. I used to come on here every episode during the offseason. And what was I saying? 3rd round, Jaylen Waddle. Every time. I'm doing it every single time. Best redraft. I stuck to my word. Walked away from the draft thinking, damn, man, I'm stacked, man. Got Jaylen Waddle. Trash. And this is what I want to say about motherfucking Jaylen Waddle, because I don't want to get too emotional about Jaylen Waddle, because here's the truth. I would want Jaylen Waddle on my team, even though the way he's been playing at a correct price. His price is way up here. We pricing this man like I don't even know who where did he go? Where did he go? Let's see.
Way too soon. Well, wide receiver 2's got taken over this year by different wide receiver 2s.
Yeah. So the thing is with Waddle is he's so frustrating because he's in and out. Here's what I'm saying. When you're playing fantasy football, nothing is worse than when you have a player play for a little bit and then it's done for that game. You would rather him just not play at all. You know what I'm saying? That's why it's frustrating to have somebody like Jaylen Waddle, who's always in that motherfucking tent all game, always getting hurt. That shit is so fucking frustrating. So, yeah, I would want Waddle as my wide receiver 6. You know what I'm saying? I don't want him as my wide receiver fucking 2 or 3, and you have to depend on him. But, hey, if you got him on a low flex spot, he's got his upside as high as anybody. But with that said, I know I'm roasting. In Dynasty, he is a buy low. In Dynasty, he is a buy low. I mean – He didn't perform well this year. The whole Miami Dolphins was a shit show. But
Well, I asked you about the buy low, and I said that there's new wide receiver twos in the building. Jordan Addison's one of them wide receiver twos that kind of stepped up. Devontae Smith took a step down this year. Jaylen Waddle definitely did. Who would you rather have in Dynasty? Would you rather have Jordan Addison or Devontae Smith or Jaylen Waddle?
Hey, when we was doing rookie talk that year, I said you got to view Jordan Addison and Jefferson as that duo. Like these guys, you got to put them up with Devontae Smith and Waddle. I mean, I don't know, man. I think I would take Addison. Give me Addison with Darnold and Justin Jefferson. Give me them guys. But I want to toot my own horn because I definitely had Jordan Addison ranked high from the jump. You know what I'm saying? I had him ahead of JSN. I know he had some rough spots in the beginning, but he definitely turned it up.
Yeah, he's just a good-ass player every time you watch him play. And he keeps scoring touchdowns over and over again. I mean, that's going to keep happening with Justin Jefferson getting double-teamed in the red zone all the time. So, I mean, Addison's just going to be I've held on to him this whole time. Through the offseason, I was willing to get rid of Addison for not much at all when Sam Darnold was going to be the quarterback. I was like, oh, right. Shit. Like, Jordan Addison ain't got no value. This sucks. Like, I was just trying to get an early second, a late first for him. Didn't happen, and I'm glad that I just held on to him because I'll be trying to trade his ass in the offseason maybe. So
when it comes down to it, if we're ranking those number twos, I would still take, well, I don't know. Devontae Smith, he's tough because I don't really feel the same way about Devontae Smith as I do Waddle. Waddle
they don't throw. I mean, with Saquon there, that offense just don't run through the receivers. I mean,
agreed.
A.J. Brown wasn't worth his pick. I mean, he wasn't terrible, but A.J. Brown wasn't worth his pick where you picked him at either.
It's just, and T. Higgins was also always in that conversation too with these guys.
Freaking beast.
Waddle,
fucking T. Higgins.
Waddle's below all them guys. I think we can all agree that.
Yeah, I Taylor that day, and he was like, "Yeah, who the fuck was T. Higgins?" I said, "Taylor, you don't know who T. Higgins is, Taylor."
Hey, T. Higgins is a beast.
No shit. I hope he stays with the Bengals.
Hey, Chris, you remember when Crabman said he'd rather have Stephon than T. Higgins? That shit was crazy.
Yeah.
Well, Stephon got hurt.
I guess.
But T,
I guess. I mean,
I've grown on T, man. That's one of my favorite. I had him in Yahoo, and that's one of my favorite damn players in the NFL right now. That man was lighting it up. He is so damn good, but he just don't freaking play. If they would just stop, if T. Higgins could just skip practice all week and not get hurt on Friday. Like, he gets hurt on Friday with a hamstring injury like 4 times a year. It's like, dude, your hamstring is not right on Fridays. Just chill. Like, you don't need to practice on Friday. You're a superstar. Just let it rest.
What else you got for me, Kraft man?
That's all I got for the bus. But yeah.
Give me some boomers then, because we done with the bad picks. Slide me some boomers.
This?
Go ahead.
I mean, Chris, do you have anybody that just pissed you the fuck off this year? Because I mean, Jaden Reed did that for me. I didn't hit that as a bust, but he was a fraud. He had a couple good games at the start, and then was just like, "You think I'm good? You think I'm the best receiver on the Packers? Watch this shit. I'm just gonna disappear. Check this magic trick out."
I mean, there wasn't really nobody that pissed me off. Most of the stuff that we've already talked about, was stuff that we said, we did pretty good on calling this shit. I mean, I can start off our little booms right here, and I'll bring it straight out of Average Joe's right here. Talking about if you drafted Christian McCaffrey and Breece Hall in the first round, and you let Saquon Barkley slip this year, you shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah. I want to get my guy, he ain't been on the pod in a long time, but I would like to shout out to my man, poor man P. Miller, because this man, verbatim, Chris, this man says Saquon Barkley is my RB1 this year. And where did Saquon finish? Was it 1? 2?
It's one, and it's not close. I
don't so go ahead and give that man credit. I sent a message. Heck, I was literally taking a dump, looking at the ADPs. And I'm just like looking at our draft, looking at the ADPs. I'm like, how the hell did we let Chris draft Justin Jefferson and Saquon at the 1-2 turn? Fucking ridiculous. Yeah, Saquon is the baddest man. He's the heck, man. I don't even know, man. He might be the dynasty running back one right now, Chris. I mean, he's at least up there. He got to be up there. You know what I'm saying? Behind that O-line. I mean, I know we had him dropped a little bit just because of age and yada yada this and tush push.
This is the best that he's ever looked.
Best he's ever looked. And
best he's ever looked. And
Imagine Craft, man. What if they didn't do tush push? What if they wasn't tush pushing? I mean, Saquon. I mean, it's fucking ridiculous. That right there was probably one of the best picks, if not the best pick in fantasy football this year was Saquon Barkley. I was asking Chris this, Craft man, is Saquon Barkley Dynasty RB 1, 2, might be behind Bijan, but maybe 2, 3.
I mean, yeah, I think he probably deserves to be in that like RB2 range, and it's just something so simple to remember, and how we miss it's just ridiculous because of the tush push and touchdowns and stuff. But Saquon is just a great talent, and then he went to this team with an incredible offensive line, and we didn't really bump him up our rankings. I mean, running backs can transition to other teams and do just fine. Like Joe Mixon did it. Saquon did it. David Montgomery did it with Detroit. I mean, when they go to a better situation and they're a good running back, they're going to be better for fantasy. Unless they get hurt, obviously. But
right.
And I guess that was the only thing holding Saquon back was just like some people had a lot of burns from Saquon of like, I ain't drafting this guy. I mean, my brother says it all the time. He's like, Saquon, every time I have him, he sucks. Same thing with McCaffrey for me. Every time I have him, he sucks ass. Every time I don't have him, he goes the fuck off. So, like,
yeah,
that had to be the only reason that he got drafted lower than some other guys because he's been in the league for a while. Fantasy managers got burns from having Saquon, and it just kind of holds over. That's why you see, like, these newbies who just start fantasy win championships because they're like, I ain't got no burns from players. Like, this player ain't hurt me before.
It's nice not to have no personal vendettas against players, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, but I did my best to warn the people about old Christian McCaffrey before the season. I sounded that off real early.
It is
y'all know
wild.
something's fishy, man. Something's fishy about this shit.
Chris did get out of Christian McCaffrey right before this year. Shit just cracks me the fuck up. Shout out to Akil.
Hold that bag.
Akil definitely going to be stacked next year, though, if CMC comes back. Him and Bijan, stacked.
As soon as nobody wants Christian McCaffrey, he's going to be the RB1 next year. I mean,
yeah.
That's the way it goes.
You ain't told a lie yet. Yeah, that was probably the best pick in fantasy football, no doubt. The next best pick, though, I ain't going to say it's the next best pick. I got to roast myself as just a fantasy person real quick. Justin Jefferson, because I was saying, what was I saying about Justin Jefferson? I said, I don't want him with Sam Darnold. I think we need to discuss Puka or Justin Jefferson or this and Justin. I mean, his ADP is still 4. And I was still saying, I'm taking A.J. Brown over J.J. I'm taking sometimes I just need to relax and pump the brakes a little bit and just be like, the best wide receiver is the best wide receiver. He's still going to go do his thing. Now, Sam Darnold went out there and
that ain't the point, though. I was just saying that ain't the point of him being the best wide receiver. That's a piece of the puzzle that he's the best wide receiver. But the main part of the puzzle is that Minnesota and their offense can run with whatever quarterback they put in there. Like, Sam Darnold's balling out. Sam Darnold was a number 1 overall pick, and he's showing why he was. But Minnesota's one of them teams where you put a quarterback in that situation, that offense is going to succeed. So, and I mean, O'Connell's going to win Coach of the Year. I mean, it's in the bag. So that's just, I agree with you. we were definitely wrong about JJ this year, but we just got to realize that Minnesota and that offense is going to click with O'Connell there. It doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter if McCarthy comes in and plays next year. We need to be just as high on JJ. We don't even need to think about it.
I was saying Garrett Wilson over JJ last year or before the year. A lot of receivers I was saying I would take ahead of Justin Jefferson. Couldn't have been more wrong. I mean, where did Justin Jefferson finish? Wide receiver 2 this year? He was definitely in the top 4. So, I mean, damn. I mean, he's a bad man. He's the baddest. I mean, when I think about best ball, I saw one guy, we actually dissed on him in the Crew versus Twitter a couple years ago. He was super high on Ridley. Yeah. He was saying, shame on me for taking my first-round pick and betting on the best wide receiver in the league in the first round. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, now I look back and was thinking, damn, that was a great-ass pick going to get Justin Jefferson in the back of the first. So, just for me personally, just doing fantasy football, sometimes you just got to pump the brakes. I know I always say situation matters. Some people don't even care about situation at all. I bring it into the equation. But sometimes you just got to be like, damn, the dude's good. Let's just take him because he's the best. You know what I'm saying, Crab?
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I mean, from the running back position, it's a little different because you have to rely on that offensive line. You can't always just be like, this guy's the best running back in the league, but the team around him is absolutely terrible, because we'll probably get into it in a couple episodes down the road. But I really want to look at like running backs on really bad teams and where they finish fantasy wise. But like, as far as receivers go, when you're on a good team with a good head coach, a good offensive mind, it usually pans out unless you're Tyreek Hill. So that's the problem with it. It's like we thought that they were bulletproof with that offensive scheme, and then Tyreek Hill's dog shit. So
yeah,
fantasy football, man.
It's like Chris says, it's a fickle bitch. Y'all got any other good picks?
I showed though, man, that they could just go out here. They could probably throw Bill back there in there, and he could go out there and give Justin Jefferson 120 yards pretty easily. He ain't even got no hands. Like, you see him right there holding on. He ain't got no hands, man. I guarantee you, Justin Jefferson catching balls.
No phalanges, bro.
Hey, before we move on to another good pick, I just want to say this as far as the situation with Sam Darnold, because there's going to be some discussion this offseason. I'm positive they're going to be talking about Sam Darnold and J.J. McCarthy, because he was, top 5 pick? He was at least top 12, but probably top 5, something like that. And this is what I want to say about that situation, because, and I know you Crabman and Chris, you probably already know what I'm going to say. You sign Sam Darnold, you keep Justin Jefferson, and you roll like that, and you have a nice quarterback room. All this stuff is some people out there for real don't think Sam Darnold's coming back to the Vikings next year. To me, that would be totally insane if that goes down like that.
How much do you think he's worth? Like, how much did the Vikings have to pay to keep him as their quarterback? Is it going to be like a Baker Mayfield thing?
Much.
It's got to be the Baker Mayfield. Yeah. Got to be that. You're definitely not paying him like I don't know, Dak and all them guys getting all that money like they've been getting. Can't do it like that.
They can't do a long-term deal. It's got to be like a fucking
2-3 year deal,
like an escalator where it just keeps going up the ladder. Like, you get paid this. If you perform this, we'll give you this. And that probably seems like the most obvious situation. But somebody might offer Sam Darnold a 4-year deal.
I mean, it is. I guess you're right. It is going to come down to what's the market looking like for Sam Darnold. If I was Sam Darnold, though, there's no way, man, I could leave this situation right here. Bouncing around all year, coming to Minnesota. No way.
He's seen the worst of the worst already.
And again, man, I ain't never had 40 mils just laid out in front of me.
Right.
I ain't never had $30-40 million laid out in front of me, spread across multiple years. Like, oh, shit.
Yeah. I do agree with that. So if I'm Sam Darnold, and listen, I'm always a team guy wanting to win, but if I'm Sam Darnold, I've had the career I've had. If somebody's going to throw a buttload of money at me, I'm going to go get that money. I'm just being honest.
Why was he so bad with the Panthers, Chris?
Because we're actually the quarterback saviors. They talk about us like we're the quarterback killers. But they play for us for a year. They suck so fucking bad. Then they leave, and then they have this massive fucking resurgence. Like, this is what fucking happens.
It's like rehab.
Mayfield. Yeah, basically, we're the Carolina Panthers rehab football organization. That's what we are. You come rehab with us, and we got you at the quarterback position.
And the Raiders are like they're like the Packers coffin. Like, they send the Packers over there to die, like Jeudy and Greg Jennings and all them guys. It's like, Raiders, we'll give you our players, and then they just go and, they run out of breath, their heart starts beating, and they just die there.
Like Tennessee is where receivers go to die. You 28, 29, and you sign them with the Titans and you're a wide receiver, your career is over, bro. It's done. Unless you get traded like DeAndre Hopkins. You're done. It's over.
Preach, man. I don't have too many great picks because in reality there was a lot of great picks and a lot of great waiver wire pickups. I'm saying?
A lot of y'all got any waiver wire pickups like just off the top of your head that you could think of like that won you the year? I don't feel like there was as many as last year with like the Puka and the Kyrans and
Bucky.
Like them guys.
He was up there. Bucky got to be.
Oh yeah, Bucky was a free agent, wasn't he?
As much as y'all like to hate on my boy, he was probably on the waiver wire in some leagues. I remember at the beginning of the year, I said it's feasible for this kid to have around 10 touchdowns. Well, he finished with 9. That's old Xavier Worthy right there. He didn't finish pretty high on the year, but he might have won you a fantasy championship if you started him.
He was drafted. He was definitely drafted.
He was, but in ours, he was drafted. It wasn't like me and Joe's. But
well, shoot, I got a real good one right here. I know Chris will second this one. One of the best picks of the year for real was old Scary Terry, Terry McClaurin. Yes. He finished as like the wide receiver 6 or 7 or something like that in PPR, and. Listen, I think me and Crabman was saying, I know we were doing all this stuff. I know we wasn't like the lowest on Terry, but it could have been disastrous. You know what I'm saying? Like it could be good, could have been disastrous as well. It was great, and now it's real great. You know what I'm saying? Now Jayden Daniels, Scary Terry linked up. Now Terry McClaurin finally has a motherfucking quarterback out there that can get him the rock. And what does he do?
And he's about to be 35 years old.
He
finally got a quarterback.
Yeah, and what does he do? He goes out and gets you 1.7 fucking points in the championship.
Yeah. I feel you, Chris. That last week will ruin an entire season of what somebody did. It would definitely do that.
And so, but see, you're talking about he's 36. Scary Terry's not that old, man. Scary Terry is. Let's see.
I've seen some gray hairs popping.
29. He's 29.
Oh, yeah. That's like prime. I mean, that's still good. Like that's good wide receiver age, and he just turned 29 because it was 28 earlier in the year, so he just turned 29. So you probably got like 2 more years out of Terry.
He's really coming into his apex peak prime with a quarterback now showing up to the building. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is. 28
was
through
the
32.
First year. Yeah, this was the first year of the peak. Usually the peak's between 26 and 29, 25 and 28, whatever. I mean,
yeah.
But he, like I say, he finally got a good quarterback. So Terry should be good next year. You should probably draft his ass. I think I put him as one of the players that I wanted this season. But a player that I got to talk about is Lad McConkey.
Yeah,
the best wide receiver in the NFL. I mean, he's perfect. There's nothing wrong with Lad McConkey. His route running skills are A++.
His footwork is impeccable.
Seriously.
His speed makes Tyreek look slow. I mean, he's the perfect guy. Perfect receiver.
Man, it just feels great to have a white guy that
suck this man's dick too hard.
Hey, listen, man. All them guys, all these Georgia boys, man, super high on them. So we had to temper expectations coming into the year, but there's no doubt, Lad McConkey, super good, and with Herbert, I mean,
wide receiver 13 on the season,
and it's just now getting started. So.
So
I'm with you,
there's that
Crab Man.
ACL next year.
And
Don't even start with that shit.
It's gonna be
dude.
so
Don't start with it.
unfortunate for him, man.
Hey,
So
just jump on the train, man. There's everything you need on
I'm
this
happy
train.
that the white boy is out there doing his thing. Trust me, I'm happy.
Hey, shout out to my guy Big Dunk. Cole Beasley looked pretty good this year. I don't know if he ever I don't know if he ever went to wide receiver 13, but Cole Beasley looking impeccable all of a sudden. I mean, give him some credit.
Yeah, and a lot of things like during the combine and all this stuff, Lad McConkey, if anybody forgets, he tested the exact same vertical. He has the same height and weight, speed as Garrett Wilson. I mean, Lad McConkey is not just this slot, get the ball and get down type receiver. Like, he can get down the field and burn guys. Like, this is a good receiver. He's going to keep being good.
Yeah.
The Chargers will probably bring somebody else in, I would imagine, because QJ just keeps dropping balls and he's a sack of shit. But we got to mention one other guy, Matt. He's on our dynasty team. If this guy can just get a damn quarterback, JJ number 2, Jerry Jeudy. He wide receiver 11 on the year. I mean, with Jameis Winston, Jerry Jeudy was better than any wide receiver that's ever came into the league over Calvin Johnson. I mean, he was God on that field with Jameis Winston.
That hype will never die.
They should have just kept running Jameis.
Yeah.
Jameis.
Well, they wanted to lose games.
I mean, Jameis was out there losing the games, bro. He was losing the games, man. I mean, but the thing about Jameis is that, like, he's a gunslinger, man. He goes out there and he throw the rock. He got to be. I will say, Jameis Winston got to be my favorite motherfucking dude to watch any kind of pregame. He says some wild shit, man. He says some crazy shit.
I love him.
Locker. I mean, he is wild.
When he threw that pick six to whatever, I hate Jameis.
That's why you hate him.
I can't stand
I
him.
remember Matt talking about, like, what's going on, and then I saw him throw that pick six. I was like, oh my.
His second one of the night. Oh my God.
That's always been Jameis' problem, though. He turns the ball over a lot, but at the end of the day, Jameis Winston's like the only quarterback that I see that'll go out and throw for 550 yards, 3 touchdowns, 4 interceptions with 2 pick sixes. Well, all of a sudden, Jerry Jeudy's got 274 receiving yards with 2 touchdowns.
Yeah,
dude, the NFL has got to get over this bullshit. This dude's turning the ball over too much. Brett Favre did that. Yeah. Brett Favre did that shit his entire career, and he started for like 300 straight games? Jameis Winston should be starting for 300 straight games.
I saw Geno Smith when he played for Rex Ryan throw 7 interceptions.
That's the guys you want to play, man. He's taking chances.
Oh,
hey,
man.
No risk it, no biscuit. That's what they say.
I am with you. Jerry Jeudy was relevant with Jameis Winston. So,
how many games? I don't mean to interrupt you, man. How many games do y'all think what would the Browns' record be if Jameis Winston was their quarterback from week 1 all the way until the end of the season?
I mean, what was their record, anyways?
They're like 2-15.
Oh, I give them 7 wins, 7-8 wins easy.
Yeah, I agree.
Damn,
even with all the turnovers. Yeah.
I don't know, man.
That team would rally around his ass, man. They rally.
He'd be back there saying some crazy shit, man. They just be like, I don't know, man. I can't even think of the wild stuff that I saw that he said. I mean, they walked out and talked to him one day, and he was like, "Yo, we ready to go to battle. We got the horses and all ready to go." And I'm just like, what is he talking about? Like, y'all are about to go out here and lose by 30.
Hey, I do agree with Jameis Winston. Like, it is funny that you say the rallying around it, but I swear to God, if I was playing with somebody like Jameis Winston, I'm going all out. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you want to sit there and do those pregame speeches for me, let's go ahead and do this shit. Let's run it then. Let's go. You know what I'm saying? Run through a door for that man. A door, not a wall.
So if you were a door, not a wall, the open door.
But yeah, man, Jerry Jeudy. Listen, my only gripe with him was his hype was so fucking high. We should be talking about him like we do Garrett Wilson and Dre London and all them. First round pick, all that stuff. He ain't lived up to that hype. But he ain't had a quarterback, and the only time he had somebody who was slinging the rock, he's going off. He always comes up with a stretch of a few games. Like every season, he has a stretch of a few games. That's why the hype never dies with that motherfucker. So,
but
Jerry Jeudy on the list.
Going right back to the graveyard because of the Browns paying Bill Cosby all that money. Bill Cosby going to be at the helm again next year.
Man, what is this Judy's contract? I mean, I know did he sign again or that dude did sign like a 3-year deal with Cleveland. I'm about positive. We'll have to look that one up. But crap, man, anybody else you want to slide out there? Swizzy?
I mean, we mentioned Bucky. We hadn't mentioned Chase Brown. He finished as an RB11, really only playing like Zach Moss and him were splitting like the first quarter of the year before Zach Moss went out. I think Chase Brown would have finished as like a top 6, top 7 running back on the season if he'd have got everything to begin with. And the reason I want to bring up Chase Brown, especially for dynasty purposes, is if the Bengals, they've already paid Burrow, they got to pay Chase. If they want to pay Higgins, they're not going to bring in an expensive running back. Chase Brown will, if they bring back T. Higgins, Chase Brown will be the main guy next year. I don't think there's any way that he gets replaced. So I just want to hear what y'all got to think about that because they got a lot of money tied up in their receivers.
Yeah,
no 1,000 no money on the table yet, but we're gonna have to see it play out. I'll have to.
T's coming back, man. I think T's coming back.
He's definitely coming back. I've never really thought he was going anywhere anyways. All these teams can figure out money. Go look at the Saints. All these teams can figure that shit out. You know what I'm saying? So bringing it back, I was going to say Chase Brown, you kind of view him as like a better Pacheco because he's got like 5th round draft capital, so he could get replaced. But the team dynamic and the money situation really keeps Chase Brown safe. So I really would expect Chase Brown to be the guy next year. So this is why I'm going to say sell high, because he's at. I'm just kidding. Chase Brown's good, but hey, if you want to get a first for nothing for a guy you just was nothing. And me and Crab, we love Chase Brown coming out of I'll trade a first for Chase Brown.
I'm not trading. I mean, you're not gonna get like I would rather an early first, but I would definitely not trade a late first for Chase Brown. I'd rather just hold on to Chase Brown. What do you want from
and Lad McConkey? We're in the late first. BTJ.
They were.
Lad McConkey. I'll take them 2 over Chase.
That was one of the best wide receiver classes in a while. Jonathan Brooks was also in the late first.
Yeah.
I mean,
he retore his ACL.
Xavier Worthy was in the late first. I mean, I'd rather have Chase Brown than Xavier Worthy.
Still tough.
Not a hate on Worthy, but I'd still rather have Chase Brown.
I do think Chase Brown is good and safe for next year, but I don't know. These names you're bringing up. I don't know, man. I would definitely take some of these guys. Keon
Coleman was a late first. I mean, it's still a 50-50 chance. Yeah. There was a lot of receivers last year that was like pick your guy, and a lot of guys miss, and some guys hit. If you were like McConkey, he went at the 102 above Roma Dunze for me, so he did not fall that far.
Yeah, that one was wild. I ain't gonna lie.
Y'all made fun of me for that shit. Well, now, what do you think, Ladd or Roma Dunze?
I mean, Ladd for sure.
That's not even close. I'm taking Roma Dunze. Not even close. Hey, if I could trade Ladd and get Roma Dunze plus, what?
Are you for real? The Bears?
I've been done coming on here and said Roma Dunze is the best buy low in Dynasty. I stick to it.
I still think
we'll see what happens. We'll see that. We'll see what happens next year. Hey, people said I was crazy for having Jordan Addison up there, but after 2 years,
I mean, well, that was more feasible though. That wasn't a historic franchise that just
the Vikings.
The Vikings just aren't like a historically shitty franchise.
I don't know.
Like
I mean,
Chicago
they're okay. I like the Falcons. Every now and then,
but they're not the Chicago Bears.
I mean, I agree with the Chicago, with the organizations and all that, but I mean, look at the talent of Roma Dunze compared to Ladd. I mean,
Matt,
that really ain't that close.
Tell me how it works out for Roma Dunze next year. I just want to hear what happens with the Bears to make it feasible where Roma Dunze is a great receiver for the Bears. Just tell me.
What you mean? I just think they're going to be good. They're going to be better. I mean, Caleb Williams still threw for like close to 4,000 yards this year. He was a rookie. I mean, was their season really that bad? I mean, come on, they're the Bears.
Yes,
they're the Bears. Was it that bad?
It was bad.
We can say they're the Bears in some situations, but we can't say they're the Bears in this one. They're the Bears. Like, was it that bad? Come on, man. I mean,
isn't there some teams like, for me, it's the Bears when I think of bad. Isn't there some teams like in your train of thought that you always think is terrible where you're like, they can't be good?
Jets. I mean, the Bears at least had Jay Cutler.
What they do with him?
Browns.
He's an alcoholic now, getting pulled over for DUIs and shit all the time. Hey, that's
it's like you said, it's the Bears, man. It's the Bears.
I ain't even gonna hate on Jay Cutler, bro. If I played for the Bears, I'd be getting DUIs every night.
If you can fucking
hey, you ain't lying.
Sit on the sideline and you smoke you a fucking Marlboro Red after every fucking drive, you a fucking legend, dude. And you have your fucking Kristen Cavalieri all the goddamn time. And then whenever y'all break up, you telling her to go get a job. That's fucking hilarious, man. I love Jay Cutler. That motherfucker's a legend, man.
Hey, Jay Cutler is the epitome of I don't give a fuck. Because that motherfucker did not care. On the pod. Hey, he might join us. I might go holler at him. Let's get a few more views. We'll holler at him. Tell him to come talk to us.
Special guest, Jay Cutler. He comes on here like,
I'll just ask this. Is it implausible that we can have a jump like JSN this year? It's not impossible. And
it's not impossible, but I will say that it's highly improbable.
I'll just say JSN did it, and he's in Seattle with Geno. This guy's apparently, allegedly, with a generational talent down here in Chicago. So, I mean, we'll see how it goes. I mean, obviously, I could fall flat on my face for this, but I mean, is it really
it's too early. It's just too early to call your best buy low in Dynasty. The season's over. Ended.
The
season's over, but you still got to figure out. You still got to figure out like what offensive coordinator they bring in, what head coach they bring in. What if they hire Doug Peterson?
Oh man!
I mean, it's too early.
I do agree. Okay, crap, man, you got me on that. You're right. It is a little too early. I still will say if you're doing rookie drafts are coming up soon. That man Roma Dunze was drafting the first. His stock definitely dropped. You can definitely buy low on him. Same thing we said with JSN. Same thing I'd say about a lot of these guys we talk about in the past couple years. The first round guy who slips, you might as well take a shot on that guy. Know what I mean?
I mean, if we had to do an early one, Rashee Rice is definitely my buy low. I mean, if he would have stayed healthy, that's a top 5 wide receiver this season in PPR.
Probably so.
Probably gonna get suspended for kicking somebody's ass in whatever city that he's in that night. But I mean, Alvin Kamara, Tyreek Hill do that shit on a daily basis too.
Hey man, Alvin Kamara's on camera doing that shit. They still didn't do nothing to his ass.
There's cameras everywhere. How do you get away with whooping somebody's ass in fucking private nowadays?
But that's just what kills me though. It's like Alvin Kamara. I'm just thinking, man. Nobody thinks I just can't get political. Can't do it, man. Can't do it. I just know I've been on probation for 7 years for lollipops, and these motherfuckers are punching folks. That's all I know, man. That's all I know. But hey, man, wrap us on up, man. Crap, man. Anybody else y'all want to throw there? We can wrap it on up.
No, I'm good. I'm good. I just. For Chris and myself, one of my favorite players in the league, Chuba Hubbard.
Oh yeah,
you always got a room at my house. Like if you want to come stay the night, you always got a place to stay.
What was the word on him being put on IR? Why is he on IR?
He has a grade 2 hamstring.
I'm gonna be real. Them putting on Chuba on IR to me really tells me that they like Chuba and expected more from Chuba. I mean, I feel like if they just thought Chuba was just Chuba, they would have just thrown him out there. And I was like, nah, let's take this guy's hamstring. Let's keep him on. Let's get him ready for next year. You know what I'm saying? I thought it was like it's weird, but I thought it was like a positive sign they put him on the IR. Chuba to the moon next year.
I agree. I'm going to ask y'all these players that we had as breakouts. I'm going to ask them real quick. Where do they go next year? What round did they go in redraft? So, JSN.
Round 3.
I was
2?
thinking
Okay.
Late 2, if not right at the turn of the 3.
All right. Chase Brown.
5.
Yeah, he's going to be in that little dead zone probably. Probably going to be, what do they call it, RB dead zone? Probably going to be in that range probably.
Say they don't sign a running back. Where does he go?
5.
I mean,
No way.
I mean, he ain't going to go that high.
I'm still taking James Conner and all of them over him.
Yeah, same.
I'm
I'll take
not.
Kenneth Walker. I'll take
If Chase Brown's alone, I'm taking him like back of the second, third round. Like Joe Mixon. Like you remember when you missed on Joe Mixon last year with the Bengals? You remember that?
I drafted him. What do you mean? What did Joe Mixon do? I drafted him this year, and he killed my ass. So I certainly don't have no love for Joe Mixon.
Yeah, he sucked during the playoffs.
Motherfucker's trash, man.
Just like the whole Texans team. Whoever got the Texans in the first round of the NFL playoffs got a bye week.
They really aren't that good.
No, they're not. They're not that good. I got a couple more names. Chuba. Where does he go?
Probably in that 5.
Probably looking like.
I mean, I feel like you're talking about the same.
I'd take Chuba higher than Chase Brown. I'd say probably like 4, right there at the 4 or 5 turn, maybe.
Brian Thomas.
He's going in the first round, bro.
Second. If he ain't on board in the first, you let him fall to me in the second, I'm going to take Brian Thomas.
I mean, Brian Thomas finished as the wide receiver 4 at the end, didn't he? So I would take the 4 guys over him, maybe. I might would take Brian Thomas over him. Well, I don't know, man. I might have to pump the brakes on that one. I'll take them 4 and then Brian Thomas, though. I mean, who else is up there like that? Let's just say he's the 5th wide receiver off the board next year.
I just couldn't do that, like, with the offense, which being Jacksonville. I mean, he's already proven that he can do it with them, but I guess I'd just have to see it for another year. Like, most of these top 4 receivers or whatever we've been talking about are on top-tier offenses.
You want Brian Thomas Jr. or A.J. Brown next year?
Brian Thomas is just going to have to be one of them guys like you just call it. Like, I'm just going to do it, and I'm going to live with the consequences. But I would probably take Brian Thomas over A.J. Brown. Over Puka, I would probably take Puka. If Matthew Stafford's back, I would definitely go Puka.
Man, I get that Puka's good, but I have not really understood why the elevation of – I mean, Puka ain't did all that. He wasn't all that good this year.
Let me go through the leaders. Let me go through the leaderboards this year.
He missed like 8-9 games, though.
We'll kind of compare a little bit to the leaders. So would you go Brian Thomas over Scary Terry?
Yeah, probably. I don't know, man. Chris, what about you? Answer that, Chris.
I mean, it's gonna be close. It'll be close.
That is close. I'd probably take Brian Thomas, but I don't know, man. Scary's a little more safer in that situation too.
Mike Evans.
I'm taking Mike. Ah, man.
Fuck.
Man, I don't know, man. I don't know. Brian Thomas for me, probably.
A guy we
Mike Evans missed a couple games, though.
I just want to shout out to this guy that we didn't mention. Cortland Sutton is a wide receiver 14 on the year.
Yeah, had a great year. No doubt.
A very good year. He'll probably still be pretty good with Bo Nix next year. So another guy we got to look out for. What about Malik Neighbors? Definitely Brian Thomas?
For me, yeah, but
yeah.
Drake London with Michael Penix?
I'm taking Brian Thomas. I'm just being real.
Yeah, all right.
Brian Thomas is got to be up there. Might not be as high as some people say, but he's definitely up there.
Well, where are we drafting Ladd McConkey next year? And Jordan Addison. I imagine they're probably going to be going around the same.
I'd say probably like right around 3. Second. I mean, you probably honestly see some of them come in the second if people are reaching.
Man, you also got to account for just what the draft board is going to look like. People are definitely going to be picking running backs more.
You got people that strategize too. Like people going to be wanting to go get their running backs and shit. Yeah. But that's just kind of, I feel like safe. Like I feel like right there, like McConkey probably going to be off the board by the end of the third round.
McConkey or Bucky Irvin?
McConkey.
I don't know, man. Bucky's going to be good, bro. I don't know. I mean, I get why Duncan's trying to send them trades for Bucky Irvin. You know what I'm saying? Like, he ain't coming out of left field with it. He's definitely, but Bucky's
his price is still a little too high.
But there's also a reason why you also have. There's also a psychological reason as to why he's trying so hard to move Bucky to them.
What's that reason? Because he lost the championship with him?
I mean, he could have lost the championship with him. I mean, they still were giving looks to Rachaad White over there. Bucky was hell more.
They should, though. They should split it the way they did this year.
Yeah, I mean, that worked really well. But still, I'm not going to be out here shipping out Jonathan Taylor and players like that for Bucky Irvin. I'm just not doing it.
Nah, I can't do it. Can't do it.
But I will say with Bucky, like, this isn't one of your normal fifth round or whatever round he went in, fourth, third round picks. That's like Dameon Pierce, where he had a good year, but we are questioning whether it's going to vanish or not. I think Bucky's here to stay. Like, just from the eye test, he looks like a solid-ass running back.
And he was drafted. He's got the draft capital, correct? Is that right?
No, he does not.
He wasn't drafted in the
He
second
was like a fourth.
Dang, he dropped that low?
Okay. Fourth round.
I still think Bucky's still to stay. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do too.
You're right.
Yeah, I think Bucky probably belongs in that third, fourth round next year. He's gonna be drafted ahead of Rachaad White for sure. Oh,
big time. He'll be up there in the second round probably. And playing with all you guys who love running backs, that dude's probably a back of the first guy. I'm not even exaggerating. He's definitely at the top of the second in average Joes.
Yeah, y'all know I like stack up running backs.
This was a running back season, man. Like out of all the seasons it was just an RB season. But I'll ask you a couple names, all the busts, like where are you drafting them a lot later? But we'll start off with DK. Where's he go this year?
Shouldn't even be on a roster.
Push him way back. Whatever you set him, if he's my third wide receiver, fine. I don't want him as my second. I can go get any kind of production better than that.
Like between like 7 and 9.
This might be the year where – go ahead.
DK or Xavier Worthy?
Man, just give me Worthy, bro. Give me that upside, man.
All right. What about Tyreek? Does he fall out of the first round next year?
I don't think
he does.
I don't think that he does, but I think that he should. I wouldn't draft him in the first round.
What about Marv? Where the fuck are we drafting Marvin Harrison next season?
I don't know.
That is a hard one.
It's just because like I'm seeing where the hell he's going, especially like in our league, and then all these other leagues are taking him that high. I would have never even took that dude that high to begin with. I don't agree with that.
Taking Marvin Harrison where people were taking him last year or this year was fantasy football malpractice at its finest, and that was totally insane. He's dropping though, third or fourth round. I mean, he ain't even the top target, man. Give me Trey McBride though.
He's probably one of those that's like, well, if he's still here, I'll get him.
Right.
Yeah.
He's at the bottom of a tier, and you're like, okay, I'm taking Marvin Harrison.
That's damn.
That
man could have a great sophomore year.
I mean, he could.
He's probably about to go off.
Anybody could go out and have a great sophomore year. Anybody could go out and have a great year, period.
Yeah.
So
not anybody.
Marv's tough, but
not a generational talent.
I mean, a non-generational talent could do it.
Man, you got to quit throwing out the term. There ain't no. It's funny how we have a generational talent every year. Can't be that generational.
Matt, we have got to be more subjective on our rookie takes. Like, if we were to went out in the offseason and said, like, Marv ain't that fucking good, we would have took so much hate.
Yeah.
But we would have been correct.
Hey, let's just swing for it this year. We try to be objective. You're right, man. Let's really throw them opinions in.
I mean,
man.
I'll admit, like, I really, when I watched Malik Neighbors and Marvin Harrison play, I thought Malik Neighbors was better. But I was like, the situation just ain't good.
Right. Yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough, man. But shoot, man, let's wrap it on out of here, man. We done throw out some content for your ass. Like we always say, just thank you for listening to the podcast. We're really putting in a lot of work. I know some people don't understand, but some people do understand. We're putting in a lot of work, and we're having fun doing it. C Swizzy really been putting the time in. Me and Crab doing our thing. We're really putting in the work. So I just want to say thank y'all, everybody who is listening to the podcast. YouTube, man, go check us out on YouTube for real, man. We just started putting it on YouTube. Ask Swizzy, ask the Crab, man. We getting it popping from the jump. View it. We're gonna start trying to stream a little bit too whenever we can. Join the Discord. See Swizzy, anything else, man? Anything we need to say to these folks?
Just make sure if you want when our content comes out, shit pops up on your phone right then, bam. Oh, the crew just fucking dropped something for me. Let me go check this fake stuff shit out. Hit the subscribe button.
Yeah. Hit the bell in the top right. Add 5-star review on the podcast formats. Much appreciated. Crabman, anything you want to say?
Nah, man. We out.
Peace.